Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins C0 Lections, where we uncover hidden treasures and the stories behind the world's rarest and most valuable coins. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, so you don't miss out on more coin discoveries that could change the way you look at your pocket change forever. Today, we've got something really exciting for you, the 1974 U.S. 5-cent coin, more commonly known as the 1974 nickel. You might think of the nickel as one of the most common coins in circulation, but today, we're going to show you why this 1974 nickel could be worth far more than the 5 cents it was originally minted for. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's dive into the fascinating world of rare nickels. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this seemingly simple coin so valuable, and why your 1974 nickel could potentially be worth thousands of dollars. Let's get started. Before we jump into its value and the specific features that make the 1974 5-cent coin so special, let's take a quick look at its background. The 1974 nickel was part of the Jefferson Nickle series, which has been in circulation since 1938. The design features Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse of the coin. Jefferson's portrait, created by Felix Schlag, has remained one of the most iconic images on U.S. coins, and it's still featured on the nickel today. On the reverse, we find an image of Jefferson's home, Monticello, which represents the U.S. values of freedom and democracy. The 1974 nickel was minted during a particularly interesting time in U.S. history. The country was experiencing significant economic challenges, with inflation on the rise and the aftermath of the Vietnam War still being felt. It was also a year of political tension, as the Watergate scandal was coming to a head, leading to the resignation of President Nixon in 1974. However, while the political and economic landscape of 1974 was shifting, the 1974 nickel itself would go on to become one of the most interesting coins for collectors, thanks to a few very special characteristics, especially mint errors and rarities that could make this coin incredibly valuable. Now, let's talk about mint marks, a small but critical detail that can determine the value of your 1974 nickel. As many of you already know, U.S. coins have mint marks that tell us where they were produced. For the 1974 nickel, there are two major mint marks to be aware of: laughing face for the Denver Mint, no mint mark for the Philadelphia Mint. The Philadelphia Mint traditionally didn't place a mint mark on its coins, so if you have a 1974 nickel with no mint mark, it was produced there. The Denver Mint, on the other hand, places a D mint mark on coins produced there. Most of the 1974 nickels were struck at the Denver Mint, which means the ones from the Philadelphia Mint are a little rarer, making them more attractive to collectors. But here's the kicker: it's not just about the mint mark. Some of the 1974 nickels have errors that occurred during production, and that's where the real value lies. So, let's take a look at the rarities and minting errors that can turn your 1974 nickel from a simple coin into a collector's dream. Alright, so what makes the 1974 nickel so valuable? It's all about the minting errors and variations that can occur during production. These errors are often rare, but when they happen, they create one-of-a-kind coins that are worth far more than their face value. Let's dive into the types of minting errors that collectors go wild for. Double strikes. One of the most coveted minting errors is the double strike. This happens when a coin is struck twice by the minting die, resulting in a double design on the coin. If you find a 1974 nickel with a noticeable double strike, especially if both sides of the coin are doubled, you could be sitting on a very valuable coin. A double-struck nickel from 1974 can be worth significantly more than a regular one, depending on the clarity of the error. Off-center strikes. An off-center strike occurs when the coin isn't properly aligned with the die during the minting process. This results in a coin that has part of its design cut off or misaligned, creating an asymmetrical look. The more severely off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. An off-center 1974 nickel can fetch a premium if it's in good condition and the error is noticeable. Clipped planchets. A clipped planchet is another error to watch out for. This happens when the metal disc, called a planchet, used to mint the coin is cut incorrectly, resulting in a clipped edge. If your 1974 nickel has a clipped planchet, it's a rare mistake and makes the coin far more valuable than a typical nickel. Die cracks and cuds. Die cracks and cuds are common minting errors that occur when the die used to strike the coin gets damaged. Die cracks are raised lines on the surface of the coin, while a cud is a raised lump of metal caused by a missing piece of the die. Both of these errors can add value to your 1974 nickel, especially if they're located in a prominent part of the design, like Jefferson's portrait or Monticello proof coins. In addition to regular circulation coins, the U.S. Mint also produces proof coins, which are specially made for collectors. These coins have a mirror-like finish and are struck with greater care. A proof 1974 nickel is already more valuable than a regular coin, and if it also has any of the errors listed above, its value could skyrocket. Now, let's talk about condition. The condition of your coin is critical when determining its value. The better the condition, the more valuable the coin is, especially for rare minting errors. Coins are graded on a scale from good to mint state. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. If your 1974 nickel is in mint state, meaning it has no signs of wear and is essentially in perfect condition, its value is going to be much higher than a well-worn, heavily circulated one. For example, a 1974 nickel with a double strike in mint condition can be worth far more than one that has been worn down over the years. So, now you're probably wondering, how much is a 1974 nickel really worth? Well, as we've discussed, the value of a 1974 nickel depends on several factors: its mint mark, condition, and whether it has any rare minting errors. If you've got a 1974 nickel that's in excellent condition, or if it's one of the rare minting errors like a double strike, off-center strike, or clipped planchet, you could be sitting on a gold mine. And now, for the big reveal. A 1974 nickel with the right error and in near-perfect condition could be worth an astonishing $28,000, yes, that's $28,000 for a single 1974 5-cent coin. Unbelievable, right? A simple nickel from 1974 could be worth thousands if it has the right characteristics. So, before you throw your old nickels in a jar or spend them, make sure to check them closely. You might have a rare and valuable coin just waiting to be discovered. Well, that wraps up today's video on the 1974 US 5-cent coin. I hope you learned a lot about what makes this coin so special and how a minting error or proof version could significantly boost its value. Today, we've got something exciting to talk about, an often overlooked but incredibly valuable coin, the 1979 US 5-cent piece, also known as the 1979 nickel. You might think of a nickel as just pocket change, but let me tell you, this little coin has a few secrets up its sleeve that could make it worth a fortune. So, stick around because by the end of this video, you'll discover just how much the 1979 nickel could be worth, and trust me, it's not the typical 5 cents you're expecting. Let's dive into this rare and exciting piece of US coinage. Let's start by setting the scene and talking about the history behind the 1979 US 5-cent piece. The Jefferson Nickle, which has been in circulation since 1938, features Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse, the front, of the coin. Jefferson's image, created by Felix Schlag, is one of the most iconic on U.S. coins, and it's still featured on the nickel today. On the reverse, the back, we see an image of Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. The reverse design has remained the same since the coin's inception, making it a symbol of American values, such as freedom, democracy, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, the 1979 nickel was minted during a time when the U.S. was recovering from the 1970s inflation crisis and the effects of the Vietnam War. President Jimmy Carter was in office, and the country was experiencing political and economic changes. However, while the world around the 1979 nickel was changing, the coin itself would remain largely unchanged, except for one thing: some rare varieties and mint errors that would make this coin highly sought after by collectors. Now, let's talk about the mint mark, that small but very important detail that can affect the value of your 1979 nickel. Mint marks are tiny letters found on most U.S. coins, indicating where they were minted. For the 1979 nickel, there are two mint marks to look for: laughing face for the Denver Mint, no mint mark for the Philadelphia Mint. The vast majority of 1979 nickels were produced at the Denver Mint, so they will have the D mint mark. However, coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint don't carry a mint mark, so if you come across a 1979 nickel without a mint mark, it was produced there. While both versions are quite common, Philadelphia minted coins tend to be a bit rarer, making them more desirable among collectors. However, it's not just about the mint mark. There are also rarities and errors from the minting process that can turn a 1979 nickel into a collector's gem. So, what exactly makes the 1979 nickel so valuable, you ask? The answer lies in some of the minting errors and unique features that make this coin stand out among the millions that were minted in 1979. Let's take a look at the types of errors and varieties that can make your 1979 nickel worth far more than just 5 cents. Double strikes. One of the most desirable and valuable minting errors is a double strike. This occurs when the coin is struck more than once by the die, resulting in a doubled design. If your 1979 nickel has a double strike, especially if it's clear and visible on both the obverse and reverse, it could fetch a high price at auction. Double-struck coins are among the most prized errors because they are rare, and the more pronounced the double strike, the higher the value. Off-center strikes. An off-center strike happens when the coin isn't properly aligned with the die during the minting process, causing part of the design to be cut off. The result is a misaligned coin with part of the image missing or distorted. The more severe the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. For collectors, off-center coins are highly sought after, especially when the error is noticeable and the coin is in good condition. Clipped planchets. A clipped planchet occurs when the metal disc used to mint the coin is incorrectly cut, resulting in a clipped edge. These are rare errors, and a 1979 nickel with a clipped planchet is a special find. If you come across a clipped planchet 1979 nickel, it could be worth more than a typical nickel, depending on the severity of the clip and the coin's overall condition. Die cracks and cuds. Die cracks are raised lines or cracks on the surface of the coin caused by damage to the minting die. Similarly, a cut occurs when a piece of the die breaks off, leaving a raised lump of metal on the coin's surface. These types of errors can occur on 1979 nickels, and coins with die cracks or cuds are often more valuable to collectors because they're unique and uncommon. Proof coins. Along with regular circulation coins, the U.S. Mint also produces proof coins, which are specially made for collectors. Proof coins are struck multiple times with specially polished dies, giving them a mirror-like finish. A proof 1979 nickel is already more valuable than a regular one, but if it has a minting error or other rare features, its value can skyrocket. When it comes to rare coins like the 1979 nickel, condition is everything. The better the condition, the more the coin is worth. Coins are graded on a scale from good to mint state, and coins in mint state, meaning they show little to no signs of wear, are the most valuable. If you have a 1979 nickel in pristine condition, or if it has one of the rare errors mentioned above, it could be worth significantly more than one that has been worn down by years of circulation. Coins with high grades and minting errors fetch premium prices in the marketplace, so always pay attention to the state of your coins and look for any special characteristics that could make them stand out. Alright, here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for. How much can a 1979 nickel really be worth? Well, the answer depends on a few factors: the mint mark, the condition, and whether your coin has any minting errors or rare varieties. A 1979 nickel that's in excellent condition, with one of the rare minting errors, could easily fetch a premium price at auction. And now, for the big reveal. A 1979 nickel with the right error, in pristine condition, could be worth as much as $31,000, that's right, $31,000 for a single 1979 nickel. Who would have thought that a simple 5-cent piece could have such a massive value? So, if you've got a 1979 nickel lying around, or if you come across one in your coin jar, make sure to take a closer look. It could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Well, that's a wrap for today's video on the 1979 US 5-cent coin. I hope you've learned something new about this hidden gem and the potential value it holds for collectors. Today, we're diving into an incredibly interesting coin from the United States, the 2000 US 5-cent coin, also known as the 2000 nickel. Now, you might be thinking, a nickel from 2000? That's just 5 cents. Well, let me stop you right there. This particular nickel has some surprising value that could make it worth a lot more than you might expect. So stick around, because by the end of this video, we'll reveal just how much the 2000 nickel can be worth, and trust me, it's not just 5 cents. Before we jump into the details, make sure to subscribe if you're new here and hit the notification bell, so you don't miss any of our exciting discoveries. Let's get into it. First, let's get a little background on the 2000 nickel. The Jefferson Nickle, which the 2005-cent coin belongs to, has been a staple in U.S. coinage since 1938. The obverse, front, features the famous portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, designed by Felix Schlag. This iconic image has remained unchanged for decades, making the Jefferson Nickle one of the most recognized coins in the U.S. The reverse, back, side features a detailed depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia, which has also been part of the nickel's design since it was first struck. This represents the ideals of liberty, democracy, and the founding principles of the United States. Now, by the year 2000, the Jefferson nickel had been in circulation for over 60 years. It was a time of technological advancement, with the U.S. Mint adopting new methods to produce coins with greater precision and efficiency. The year 2000 also marked the end of the 20th century, and despite the widespread production of these coins, the 2000 nickel would go on to become a collector's dream for a few very specific reasons. Now, let's talk about the mint mark. It's the small, but incredibly important detail that can make a huge difference in the value of your coin. Mint marks are tiny letters found on coins that indicate where they were struck. For the 2000 nickel, there are two main mint marks you should be aware of: laughing face for coins struck at the Denver Mint, no mint mark for coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint. While the deminted coins from Denver make up the bulk of the 2000 nickels, the ones without a mint mark, minted in Philadelphia, are rarer. Generally, the Philadelphia minted nickels are a bit harder to find, but this alone won't necessarily affect the value much. However, what makes the 2000 nickel interesting and valuable are the errors and varieties that can occur during the minting process. So, what makes the 2000 US 5-cent coin stand out from all the other nickels? The answer lies in a few key minting errors and varieties that can significantly increase the value of this coin. These rare errors can turn a common 2000 nickel into a collector's treasure, and some of these coins are worth thousands of dollars. Let's look at some of the most valuable varieties and errors you need to be on the lookout for. Double strikes. A double strike occurs when the coin is struck twice by the same die, causing the design to overlap or appear twice. This error is particularly desirable among collectors. If you find a 2000 nickel with a double strike, especially if the strike is clear on both the obverse and reverse sides, it can significantly boost the coin's value. Double strikes are rare, and a clear, pronounced double strike can make a coin worth much more than a typical nickel. Off-center strikes. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned with the minting die, and part of the coin's design is cut off. A 2000 nickel with an off-center strike, especially one that's severely off-center, is much rarer and more desirable. If the coin shows part of its design missing or misaligned, it could be worth a lot more than its face value. Clipped planchets. A clipped planchet error happens when the metal disc, planchet, used to mint the coin is incorrectly cut, resulting in a clipped edge. These coins are particularly interesting because they have a distinct, jagged edge that sets them apart from other nickels. If you happen to find a 2000 nickel with a clipped planchet, it's considered a rare error, and it could fetch a premium price in the right condition. Die cracks and cuds. A die crack occurs when the minting die develops cracks, causing the coin to have raised lines or marks. Similarly, a cud forms when a portion of the die breaks off, creating a raised lump of metal on the coin. Coins with die cracks or cuds are always popular with collectors, and a 2000 nickel with noticeable die cracks or a cud could be a valuable addition to your collection. Proof coins. In addition to regular circulation coins, the U.S. Mint produces proof coins, coins struck multiple times with specially polished dies to give them a mirror-like finish. If you find a 2000 nickel in proof condition, it's already more valuable than a regular coin. And if that proof coin has a minting error or is in near-perfect condition, its value can increase exponentially. As with any coin, condition plays a major role in determining the value of a 2000 nickel. Coins are graded on a scale from good to mint state, and the better the condition, the more valuable the coin. A well-preserved 2000 nickel with sharp details, minimal wear, and no noticeable damage will always be worth more than a coin that's heavily circulated or worn down. If your 2000 nickel has any error, it's especially important to keep it in the best condition possible. Mint state coins, especially those with rare errors, can be extremely valuable. So, make sure to store your coins in protective cases to preserve their value. So, now that we've covered all the key details about the 2000 nickel, you're probably wondering, just how much can this coin really be worth? Well, the value of your 2000 nickel depends on a number of factors, including the mint mark, its condition, and most importantly, whether or not it has any of those rare minting errors we talked about earlier. If you happen to have a 2000 nickel with a rare minting error, such as a double strike, off-center strike, or clipped planchet, and it's in excellent condition, you could be sitting on a valuable coin. A 2000 nickel with the right error, in pristine condition, could be worth as much as $34,000, yes, $34,000 for a single 2000 nickel. So, if you've got any 2000 nickels lying around, or if you come across one in your change, make sure to give it a closer look. You could have a small fortune in your hands. That wraps up today's video on the 2000 US 5-cent coin. I hope you've learned a lot about the rarities, errors, and minting details that make this coin so special. Today, we're going to dive into a coin that many people overlook, but this little 5-cent piece might just be worth a lot more than you think, the 1981 US 5-cent coin, also known as the 1981 nickel. Now, you might be thinking, a nickel from 1981? That's just a regular coin. But believe me, if you've got one of these in your collection, it could be worth thousands of dollars. So stick around, because by the end of this video, we'll reveal the incredible value of the 1981 nickel, and trust me, it'll surprise you. But before we dive in, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future discoveries in the world of rare coins. Let's get started. Alright, let's first take a step back and look at the history of the 1981 nickel. The Jefferson Nickle, which the 1981 5-cent coin belongs to, was first minted in 1938. The design, created by artist Felix Schlag, features a profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse side. Jefferson has been the face of this coin for decades, and the design remains largely unchanged today. On the reverse side of the coin, we see Monticello, Jefferson's historic estate in Virginia. Monticello is an iconic American landmark and has been featured on the nickel since the coin's introduction. This side of the coin is a symbol of Jefferson's contributions to the founding of the United States. In 1981, the Jefferson nickel was still widely circulated, and it was part of the U.S. Mint's regular coin production. While this coin may seem fairly ordinary, the 1981 nickel is actually a part of some interesting minting history, and it has some surprising rarities that collectors are eager to find. Now, one of the first things we need to check when it comes to determining the value of any coin is the mint mark. The mint mark tells us where the coin was produced, and for the 1981 nickel, there are two mint marks that can make a big difference in its value. Laughing face for the Denver Mint. No mint mark for coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Most of the 1981 nickels were struck at the Denver Mint, so the deminted versions are much more common. However, the coins minted in Philadelphia, which don't have a mint mark, are rarer. While the Philadelphia minted coins may be worth slightly more, what really sets the 1981 nickel apart from other years are the minting errors and rare varieties that occurred during production. Now let's get into what makes the 1981 US 5-cent coin so special and valuable. Like many coins from the US Mint, the 1981 nickel saw some minting errors that have caused certain versions of the coin to become highly sought after by collectors. If you happen to have one of these rare varieties, you could be looking at a significant payout. Let's go over the key errors and varieties you should be on the lookout for. Double strikes. A double strike occurs when the coin is struck by the die more than once, causing the design to be doubled on both sides. A 1981 nickel with a clear double strike is considered a highly desirable error and could be worth a lot more than a regular coin. The more pronounced the double strike, the more valuable the coin. Off-center strikes. One of the most interesting and valuable mint errors to look for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin's planchet isn't properly aligned during the striking process, causing part of the design to be misaligned. An off-center strike makes for a visually unique and rare coin, and a 1981 nickel with an off-center strike can be worth a lot more than its face value. Clipped planchets. A clipped planchet error occurs when the metal disc used to create the coin is incorrectly cut, resulting in a clipped edge. These errors are fascinating because they make the coin look unique, and they are always highly collectible. If you find a 1981 nickel with a clipped planchet, you could have a coin worth much more than just 5 cents. Die cracks and cuds. Another error to watch for are die cracks or cuds. A die crack happens when the minting die begins to crack, leaving raised lines on the coin. Similarly, a cud occurs when a portion of the die breaks off, creating a raised lump of metal on the coin. Die cracks and cuds are always sought after by collectors, especially if they occur in key areas of the design. A 1981 nickel with a visible die crack or cud could be a highly prized piece. Proof coins. A proof coin is a specially struck coin designed for collectors. Proof coins are produced with polished dies and usually have a mirror-like finish, making them stand out from regular circulation coins. While proof coins don't have minting errors, they are still more valuable than typical circulating coins. If you have a 1981 proof nickel, it will generally be worth more than a regular circulating coin, especially if it's in excellent condition. Of course, when it comes to determining the value of any coin, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from good to mint state, with mint state being the highest grade possible. If you have a 1981 nickel in mint condition, it will always be worth more than a coin that has been heavily circulated. The best condition for a 1981 nickel would be a well-preserved coin with sharp details, minimal wear, and no scratches. Coins that have been kept in protective cases or well stored will fetch higher prices than those that are worn down. If you happen to have a 1981 nickel with an error and it's in mint condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Now, I know you've been waiting to hear the most exciting part of this video, the value of a 1981 nickel. If you have a 1981 nickel with a rare minting error, like a double strike, off-center strike, or clipped planchet, and it's in excellent condition, you could have a coin that's worth much more than just 5 cents. In fact, a 1981 nickel with the right minting error, in near-perfect condition, could be worth as much as $39,000, that's right, $39,000 for a single 1981 nickel. It's truly remarkable how a simple coin from the 1980s could hold such immense value, isn't it? So, if you've got a 1975 nickel lying around, or if you happen to come across one in your change, make sure to take a good look. It could be worth a fortune. That wraps up today's video on the 1981 US 5-cent coin. I hope you've learned something new about the minting errors, rarities, and value of this coin. If you happen to have a 1981 nickel in your collection, or even just some old coins lying around, make sure to take a closer look. You might be sitting on a hidden treasure. Today, we've got something truly exciting for you, a coin from the 1990s that could be worth way more than its face value. You guessed it, we're talking about the 1996 US 5-cent coin, also known as the 1996 nickel. Now, you might think, a nickel from 1996. That's not exactly ancient. But here's the twist, 1996 nickels can be worth a lot of money, and not just because of the year they were minted. There are some rare varieties, mint errors, and highly collectible versions of this coin that are in huge demand. So if you have one of these coins lying around, you might be sitting on a small fortune. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future treasure hunts like this one. Let's dive into the mystery of the 1996 nickel, and find out just why this coin might be worth a lot more than you think. Alright, let's kick things off with a bit of history. The Jefferson Nickle, which the 1996 5-cent coin belongs to, has been a cornerstone of American coinage since 1938. It's one of the most recognizable coins in the U.S., featuring the profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse. On the reverse, we see Monticello, Jefferson's famous plantation in Virginia, which has graced the nickel since its introduction. By 1996, the Jefferson nickel was still a staple of U.S. currency. The U.S. Mint was producing millions of these coins each year, but not all of them were perfect. In fact, 1996 marked a significant period in the minting of these nickels, with some rare varieties and minting errors slipping through production, which would later make certain 1996 nickels worth a great deal more than their face value. What sets the 1996 nickel apart from other years, though, is the way certain coins were minted, errors, subtle changes, and unique variants that have become sought after by collectors worldwide. Now, let's talk about the mint mark on the 1996 nickel. For coin collectors, the mint mark is one of the first things we check when evaluating a coin. The mint mark indicates where the coin was made, and in the case of the 1996 nickel, there are two possibilities: laughing face for the Denver Mint, no mint mark for coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The majority of 1996 nickels were minted at the Denver Mint, meaning deminted coins are the most common. However, the coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which don't have a mint mark, are much rarer. While the Philadelphia minted nickels are harder to find, it's not just the mint mark that determines the value, it's also the condition and any minting errors that occurred during production. But what makes the 1996 nickel truly special is the hidden value in some of these rare error coins. Let's now explore the minting errors and rare varieties that make the 1996 nickel worth much more than just 5 cents. The U.S. Mint is usually very precise, but sometimes, during the minting process, things don't go exactly as planned. These errors are what coin collectors live for, and if you happen to find a 1996 nickel with one of these errors, you could be sitting on a valuable treasure. Here are the most valuable mint errors and variations to watch for. Double strikes. One of the most sought-after mint errors is the double strike. A double strike occurs when a coin is struck twice by the same die, resulting in a doubled design on the coin. If you have a 1996 nickel with a clear double strike, it can fetch much more than a regular coin. The more noticeable the double strike, the higher the value. Off-center strikes. Another error to watch out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the planchet, the metal blank, isn't properly aligned during the striking process, causing the image on the coin to be misaligned. The result is a misprint where part of the coin's design is cut off, or shifted. Coins with extreme misalignment can be worth much more than face value, especially if the error is pronounced and easy to spot. Clipped planchets. A clipped planchet error occurs when the metal disc used to make the coin is incorrectly cut, resulting in a clipped edge on the coin. This type of error gives the coin a distinctive look and makes it highly collectible. If you find a 1996 nickel with a clipped planchet, you may have discovered a rare find. Die cracks and cuds. A die crack happens when the minting die begins to crack, leaving a raised line or crack on the coin. A cut occurs when part of the die breaks off, leaving a raised lump of metal on the coin. Both die cracks and cuds are desirable among collectors, and a 1996 nickel with one of these features is highly valuable, especially if the cracks or cuds are found in important design areas. Proof coins. Proof coins are special coins that are struck for collectors with highly polished dies. They have a mirror-like finish and razor-sharp details. Although proof coins are not usually minted for circulation, the 1996 proof nickel is still more valuable than its regular counterparts and is sought after by collectors. A 1996 proof nickel in pristine condition could bring in a nice premium. Now, when it comes to determining the value of a 1996 nickel, the condition of the coin plays a massive role. Coins are graded on a scale from good to mint state, with mint state being the highest quality. If you find a 1996 nickel that is in near-perfect condition, free from heavy wear, scratches, or discoloration, it will be worth significantly more than a coin that's been heavily circulated. For collectors, the grade is everything. A well-preserved 1996 nickel with sharp, clear details, especially one with a rare minting error, could be worth a lot more than a worn, everyday coin. So, always check your coins for wear and tear, and make sure you store your valuable coins in protective cases to maintain their condition. So, what is the real value of a 1996 nickel? As you've seen, if your coin has a minting error or is in exceptional condition, it could be worth far more than just 5 cents. In fact, a 1996 nickel with the right error, whether it's a double strike, off-center strike, or clipped planchet, and in pristine condition, could be worth as much as $44,000. That's right, $44,000, yes, you heard that correctly. A single 1996 nickel, with a rare minting error or in perfect, uncirculated condition, could fetch an impressive $44,000. That's the kind of value that makes coin collecting an exciting and profitable hobby. So, take a close look at your coins. If you happen to have a 1996 nickel, don't just toss it aside. It might just be a rare find that could change your life. That wraps up today's video on the 1996 US 5-cent coin. I hope you've learned some valuable tips on how to identify rare varieties, minting errors, and what makes this coin so special. If you've got a 1996 nickel in your collection, or if you find one in your change, make sure to check it carefully. You never know what hidden treasure you might be holding. Today, we've got something truly exciting to talk about, the 1992 US 5-cent coin, also known as the 1992 nickel. If you think this is just another ordinary nickel from the 1990s, think again. This coin could be worth a small fortune, and you might be surprised to learn just how valuable it can be. If you've ever wondered how a simple, everyday coin can turn into a highly prized collectible, then stick around, because today we're going to uncover the incredible potential of the 1992 nickel and show you exactly why some of these coins are worth a staggering amount of money. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future discoveries. Now, let's dive right into the mystery of the 1992 US 5-cent coin and why this coin might just be the goldmine you didn't know you had. Let's start with a little history. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American coinage since 1938, featuring the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse. On the reverse, we see the famous Monticello, Jefferson's home and a symbol of the nation's early history. By the time we get to 1992, the Jefferson nickel had been in circulation for decades, with only slight design changes over the years. The 1992 nickel was part of the regular production run, and millions were minted that year. However, not all nickels are created equal, and the 1992 nickel has some interesting variations and rarities that make it more valuable than you might think. So, why is the 1992 nickel suddenly becoming so popular among collectors? It has a lot to do with rarities, mint errors, and specific varieties that have increased in value over time. Let's break it down. Now, let's talk about the mint mark. This is one of the most important factors that can influence the value of a coin. The 1992 US 5-cent coin comes with a mint mark that indicates where the coin was produced. For the 1992 nickel, there are two possible mint marks: laughing face, for the Denver Mint; no mint mark, indicating the Philadelphia Mint. The Philadelphia Mint coins, without a mint mark, are generally less common than the Denver minted coins, as the Denver Mint produced most of the 1992 nickels. The Philadelphia versions are relatively rare, and if you find one in pristine or uncirculated condition, it could be worth much more than its face value, but it's not just the mint mark that matters, it's the condition of the coin and any potential mint errors that make the 1992 nickel so valuable. Let's now talk about what really makes the 1992 nickel a hidden gem. Minting errors are what every serious coin collector is after, and the 1992 nickel is no exception. Here are the most common minting errors that can make this coin worth a fortune. Double strikes. One of the most valuable errors in coin collecting is the double strike. This happens when a coin is struck more than once by the minting die, creating a double design. If you've got a 1992 nickel with a double strike error, it could be worth a lot more than its face value. The more prominent the double strike, the higher the value. This is one of the most sought-after errors by collectors, and coins with this error can go for a premium price on the market. Off-center strikes. Another minting error that can make a 1992 nickel highly valuable is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin's blank planchet is not aligned properly during the minting process. As a result, part of the design on the coin gets cut off, giving it a misaligned appearance. An off-center nickel is not just a fun curiosity, it's a collector's dream, and finding one in excellent condition can raise its value exponentially. Clipped planchets. A clipped planchet occurs when the metal blank used to strike the coin gets cut off improperly, resulting in a clipped edge on the coin. This makes the coin look misshapen or uneven, and collectors love these kinds of errors because they are unique and show a clear minting flaw. If you have a 1992 nickel with a clipped planchet, you may be holding a rare treasure. Die cracks and cuds. Die cracks and cuds are also valuable errors. A die crack happens when the minting die starts to break, leaving a raised line or crack on the coin. A cud occurs when part of the die breaks off, causing a raised lump on the coin. Both of these errors are highly collectible, especially if they appear in visible areas of the design. A 1992 nickel with a die crack or cud could attract serious interest from collectors. Proof coins. Although proof coins are not part of regular circulation, they are produced for collectors and often feature mirror-like finishes and sharp details. The 1992 proof nickel was struck in smaller quantities and is considered a special edition. Proof coins are always worth more than standard coins, and if you can find one in pristine condition, it can command a higher price in the market. Now, let's talk about the condition of the coin. If you've ever wondered why some coins are worth so much more than others, the answer often lies in their grade. Coins are graded based on their condition, and this can make a huge difference in the price. Coins are graded on a scale from good to mint state, with mint state coins being the highest quality. The better the condition of your 1992 nickel, the more valuable it will be. A well-preserved coin with sharp details, clear design features, and no noticeable wear will always fetch a higher price than one that's been circulated heavily. Grading is critical to determining the market value of your coin, so always be sure to check your coins carefully and handle them with care. If you want to maximize their value, store your coins in protective cases to avoid scratches or tarnish. Now, let's get to the exciting part, the value. So, what is a 1992 nickel worth, and why is it so special? If you've got a 1992 nickel in excellent condition, or if it features one of the rare minting errors we talked about, you might be sitting on a goldmine. Double strikes, off-center strikes, and clipped planchets can dramatically increase the value of the coin. In fact, a 1992 nickel in top-notch condition, with one of these rare mint errors, could be worth as much as $47,000. That's right, $47,000. Yes, a single 1992 nickel, with the right error and in pristine condition, could fetch an incredible amount at auction or from collectors. So, take a look through your collection or check your change jar. This might be the rare find you've been waiting for. That wraps up our deep dive into the 1992 US 5-cent coin. I hope you've learned just how valuable this 1992 nickel can be if you know what to look for. If you find one with a minting error or in pristine condition, you could be holding a rare treasure worth thousands of dollars. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more coin collecting tips and treasure hunts. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep an eye out for those rare finds. You might just have a small fortune hiding in your pocket.